York County Lawyers Association, or NYCLA, is a nonprofit bar association with voluntary membership for attorneys, law students, and law graduates. It was founded in 1908 and was one of the first major bar associations to admit members regardless of race or gender. It is a mission-driven organization, and part of our mission is to improve access to justice for all New Yorkers by providing free legal services across various areas of the law. We have partnered with HHWA member resources to provide pro bono landlord, tenant, and family law services to HHWA union members. Pro bono comes from the Latin phrase pro bono publico, which means for the public good. Pro bono generally refers to free services, which can be in any industry. NYCLA provides free legal services to low-income individuals. NYCLA's pro bono legal services may range from brief legal advice to full representation on a case.
Before your consultation, you will submit an online intake form with various information, including a brief summary of your legal concern. You will then be contacted within 24 to 48 hours to discuss any additional information that might be required and to schedule you for the consult with a NYCLA volunteer attorney. At the scheduled time, the volunteer attorney will call you directly. They will already have received the summary of your legal concerns as well as any documents you provided related to the issue. They will discuss the issue with you in more detail, answer your questions, and provide advice about your legal rights and options. This program does not provide legal representation, but if you need more help in the future, you can schedule additional consultations. The most important way to be prepared is to be ready at the scheduled time to answer the lawyer's call. In advance of the call, you have the option of sending documents. For example, a copy of your lease agreement, a notice from your landlord, or divorce paperwork that the lawyer may be able to review. This is not required, but can be helpful, especially if your questions are specifically related to these documents. For example, if you received a letter from your landlord and want to make sure you understand it.
NYCLA's legal counseling project helps with a range of housing issues. Some of the most common categories include evictions, leases and lease renewals, repairs and habitability issues, and landlord harassment. For advice regarding evictions, you can reach out to us at any stage of the eviction process. This program only provides legal advice, so NYCLA volunteer lawyers cannot appear in court with you or contact your landlord directly, but they can give advice on how to communicate with your landlord and what to expect during an eviction case.
For leases and renewals, NYCLA lawyers can read your lease and explain it to you, as well as advise you on your options to dispute parts of the lease, such as a rent increase. Consults can also help inform you of your options if there are repairs or other issues in your home that aren't being fixed, such as leaks or flooding, infestations, and issues with your heat or hot water. If your landlord is harassing you, lawyers can give you advice on how to deal with your landlord and how to protect yourself and your home.
And while our program primarily gives advice to tenants, it can also help if you are a small residential landlord. If you are having issues with a tenant, NYCLA volunteer lawyers can give you advice about your options and about the procedures you should follow in order to resolve the issue legally. Our program does not help with other homeownership or real estate matters. It only provides advice about landlord-tenant disputes.
In New York State, an eviction of a tenant is only lawful if the owner or landlord has brought a court proceeding and obtained a judgment from the court that requires you to leave. It is illegal for the landlord to try to force you out of your home. Even if they win in an eviction case against you and a court orders that you must leave, only a sheriff, marshal, or constable can carry out a court-ordered eviction and make you leave.
A landlord may try to evict a tenant for different reasons, such as not paying rent or violating the terms of the lease. The first step is that the landlord is required to give the tenant written notice. This notice does not require you to leave your apartment. Only a judgment from the court can do that. The notice may look different depending on the reason the landlord wants to evict you, but it should clearly state the issue the landlord is claiming against you and give you a deadline for fixing the issue. After that deadline passes, the landlord may start an eviction case against you in court. If that happens, you will be served with a notice of petition and a petition, which clearly describes the landlord's reasons for trying to evict you.
Just because a landlord starts an eviction case against you does not mean you need to leave your home. Again, you do not need to leave unless and until the landlord wins the case against you and receives a judgment from the court requiring you to leave. When a landlord starts an eviction case, you can dispute their reasons for eviction. Examples of defenses against an eviction lawsuit include the landlord not following the eviction procedures, the landlord failing to maintain your apartment, or the landlord discriminating against you.
New York City has right to counsel rules that provides free representation to people facing eviction who meet the income requirements. An individual legal consult with NYCLA will help clarify your rights as a tenant and give advice about your options based on your specific situation, including information on the Right to Counsel program.
Landlords are never allowed to forcibly remove you or your belongings from your home. Landlords cannot start an eviction proceeding against you without first sending you an official notice giving you time to fix the issue. This notice must clearly state the issue they are claiming, for example, unpaid rent or other violations of the lease, and state the time you have to fix the issue. You are only required to leave if the landlord wins an eviction lawsuit against you and there is a judgment from the court saying you need to leave. Even then, the landlord cannot force you to leave themselves. We have language interpretation services available in most languages. You have the option to indicate your preferred language on the intake form that you submit. During your consultation, you will then speak to a volunteer attorney through an interpreter who will also be on the phone with you. Language interpretation services are provided at no additional cost. The NYCLA Legal Counseling Project provides legal advice at no cost. Your consultation is totally free. The program is limited to advice, so it does not provide legal representation even for a fee. But you can schedule future legal consultations through the program, subject to availability, if you need more help or if new legal questions arise. NYCLA cannot guarantee you will speak to the same volunteer each time, but all consultations will be free.